Check your pennies. The 1976, 1979, 1985, and 2000 Lincoln cents might look ordinary, but some rare dates, mint errors, and high-grade coins are worth far more than just 1 cent. Collectors are always searching. Do you have one of these hidden treasures? The 1976 US 1 cent penny holds a place in history not only as a common coin used in everyday transactions, but also as a symbol of America's bicentennial spirit. The year 1976 marked 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and across the country, people celebrated with parades, commemorative items, and patriotic pride. While the penny itself was not redesigned that year like some other coins in the U.S. Mint's lineup, it still carries the date that makes collectors pay attention. And within that year's production, a small number of pennies struck with unusual errors have transformed what many would think of as just 1 cent into a rare treasure. These errors have pushed certain examples of the 1976 penny into an entirely different league of value, with some pieces selling for astonishing amounts ranging from $58,000 to $138,000. To understand why the 1976 penny carries so much fascination, it helps to look at what was happening with the U.S. Mint at the time. During the mid-1970s, the Mint was working at high speed, producing billions of coins to meet the demands of the economy. The Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln, was still being struck in its traditional bronze composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This was before the major transition in 1982 that replaced most copper with zinc. Because so many were minted, it would seem that 1976 pennies are common, and for the most part, they are. Millions upon millions are still out there in circulation or tucked away in jars and drawers. But when errors occur in mass production, rarity is born, and rarity is what collectors chase. Some of the most notable 1976 penny errors include double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and wrong metal strikes. A double die error occurs when the die used to strike the coin has been misaligned or engraved twice, causing letters, numbers, or parts of Lincoln's profile to appear doubled. Even small doubling is noticeable under magnification and highly desirable, but dramatic doubling can fetch tens of thousands of dollars. Another fascinating error is the off-center strike, where the design is not properly aligned and part of the image appears missing. These off-center 1976 pennies, especially those that show a large blank crescent while still displaying Lincoln's date, are rare and in high demand. Clipped planchets are another type of error from this year, where part of the blank metal disc is missing before the coin is struck. This results in a penny with a curved clip or a jagged edge, making it stand out instantly from normal cents. Then there are wrong metal strikes, where a penny was mistakenly struck on a planchet intended for a dime, nickel, or foreign coin. These errors are spectacular because they result in a coin with the penny design but the wrong size, weight, or color. The rarity of these wrong planchet 1976 pennies is one of the main reasons some examples have sold for as much as $138,000 at auction. There is a story told in the numismatic community of a collector who unknowingly held onto a 1976 penny for years before realizing its significance. He had a jar of old coins saved from the 1970s and, while sorting through them, noticed that one penny looked smaller and thinner than the others. After sending it for authentication, experts confirmed that it had been struck on a dime planchet, a rare mistake that made the coin incredibly valuable. That once overlooked penny sold for a jaw-dropping $72,000. Another collector who found a spectacular double-die 1976 penny managed to auction it for well over $90,000, proof of just how intense demand can be for these rare errors. The thrill of these discoveries is that they are still possible today. Unlike coins from the 1800s, which have been thoroughly studied and cataloged, modern error coins from the 1970s may still be hiding in collections, change jars, or even circulation. That's why coin enthusiasts carefully inspect 1976 pennies, knowing that one of them could turn out to be worth between $58,000 and $138,000. Imagine finding a coin that cost you nothing more than face value but holds enough worth to buy a car, pay off debt, or even serve as the down payment for a house. The beauty of numismatics lies in stories like this. A 1976 penny isn't just copper and design. It's history, chance, and discovery wrapped into a small piece of metal. When the mint struck billions of these coins, they never intended for a few special survivors to become treasures worth tens of thousands of dollars. But mistakes have a way of creating value. And when collectors and enthusiasts uncover those mistakes, they become part of a larger story. For many collectors, the 1976 penny is especially meaningful because of its bicentennial date. Even though the Lincoln cent design didn't change to mark America's 200th birthday, owning a coin from that year ties into the national spirit of celebration and remembrance. When you combine that special date with a dramatic minting error, you get a coin that carries both historical and monetary value in a way that few others can. That's why bidding wars for high-grade 1976-era pennies are so competitive. When examples appear at major auctions, excitement fills the room. Collectors know these coins are not only rare but also beautiful examples of how imperfection can create perfection in the world of collecting. A coin struck off-center or on the wrong planchet, especially in excellent condition, becomes more than a mistake. It becomes art. And the market responds accordingly, driving prices into the $58,000 to $138,000 range. So what does this mean for you? It means the next time you come across a 1976 penny, don't dismiss it as just another old cent. Look closer. Inspect the date, check for doubling in the inscriptions, examine the edges, and compare its size and weight. That one coin could be a life changer. The simple act of paying attention could uncover a hidden fortune. In the end, the 1976 US penny is a perfect reminder of why people love collecting coins. It tells us that treasure can be hiding in plain sight. It reminds us that history lives on in our pockets. And it proves that even something as small as a 1-cent coin can carry a story powerful enough to be worth $58,000 to $138,000. That's not just money, that's legacy, that's discovery, and that's the thrill of numismatics. Everyday coins often pass through our hands without a second thought. We drop them into piggy banks, vending machines, or coin jars, never stopping to really examine them. Yet among these ordinary pieces of change, there are some that stand out as rare treasures. One such coin is the 1979 US 1-cent penny error, a coin that at first glance seems like nothing special but can secretly hold incredible value. To the average person, it's just a small copper coin with Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile, but to collectors and numismatists, certain error varieties from this year are worth a staggering amount of money, sometimes ranging from $52,000 all the way to $130,000. Imagine that, a coin worth a single cent in circulation potentially carrying enough value to buy a new luxury car, cover years of college tuition, or even serve as a down payment on a house. That is the fascinating world of error pennies, and the 1979 penny is one of the shining examples of this hidden wealth. To understand the story behind this rare coin, we need to go back to 1979, a time when the United States was still producing pennies primarily out of copper. Each penny was composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving it a rich reddish-brown hue that many collectors love. Lincoln's profile had been the face of the penny since 1909, introduced on the centennial of his birth, and by 1979 the design had become one of the most iconic in American coinage. The reverse still featured the Lincoln Memorial, which had been added in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. In many ways, the 1979 penny looks almost identical to those from surrounding years, and that is part of what makes finding an error so exciting. It's like uncovering a hidden detail that most people overlook. During the minting process, billions of pennies were struck in 1979 across several U.S. mint facilities. With such massive production numbers, even a tiny mistake could result in thousands of flawed coins slipping into circulation. But not all errors are created equal. Some are minor and common, while others are rare and dramatic, instantly sparking excitement among collectors. For the 1979 penny, errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, misaligned dies, and clipped planchets are among the most sought after. These mistakes create unique variations, and when collectors discover them, their rarity combined with demand can push prices into astonishing ranges. Take, for example, a double die error, where the coin's design elements appear slightly doubled because the die used to strike it shifted during the engraving process. On a 1979 penny, this doubling might be seen in Lincoln's profile, in the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," or in the details of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. To the untrained eye, it might look like a smudge or faint blur, but to a numismatist, it's a sign of a valuable mistake. Another error type is the off-center strike, where the design is visibly shifted, leaving part of the blank planchet exposed. The more dramatic the off-center strike, say 50% or more, the more valuable the coin becomes. Then there are clipped planchet errors, where the coin is missing a curved piece along the edge due to an error in the blanking process. All of these mistakes transform a simple penny into something collectors will compete for, sometimes driving the value into the tens of thousands of dollars. The idea that a single 1979 penny could command between $52,000 and $130,000 might sound unbelievable, but the coin market is full of surprises. Collectors value not only the rarity of the error but also the coin's condition. A well-preserved error penny with clear, dramatic mistakes can skyrocket in price. Auction houses have reported sales where pennies once thought of as insignificant sold for sums that left even experienced collectors stunned. For many, the thrill of hunting for these coins is not just about the potential money but about uncovering history and holding a piece of the minting process that went wrong. What makes the 1979 penny particularly engaging is that it bridges the era just before the penny's major composition change. Only a few years later, in 1982, the mint shifted from primarily copper to copper-plated zinc, making the older pennies heavier and richer in color. Collectors already see pre-1982 copper pennies as more desirable, but when combined with an error, the desirability skyrockets. So not only is a 1979 error penny rare by its mistake, but it also represents the tail end of an era in U.S. coinage. This historical context adds another layer of significance that collectors love to discuss and preserve. Imagine the story of someone finding such a coin. A family cleaning out an old jar of pennies might stumble upon a 1979 cent that looks strange. Perhaps the lettering looks doubled, or the coin's design is off-center. Without realizing it, they might be holding a penny worth tens of thousands of dollars. Stories like these circulate in the coin collecting community and inspire countless people to examine their loose change more carefully. It's like treasure hunting without needing a map, just a keen eye and a little knowledge. And with the knowledge that a coin like this can bring in $52,000 to $130,000, who wouldn't want to take a second look at their pennies? Another reason these coins captivate so many people is the mystery of how they slipped through the mint's strict quality control. The U.S. Mint has always prided itself on producing coins with precision and accuracy, yet mistakes still happen. Sometimes it's because of the sheer volume of coins produced. Other times it's due to machinery malfunctions or human oversight. Whatever the cause, each error coin tells a story of that specific moment when perfection slipped, and instead of being discarded, the coin was released into the world. That unintentional mistake becomes a prized possession decades later, creating value far beyond what anyone at the mint could have imagined. For collectors, part of the fun is in comparing different error types. A slightly misaligned die might make one coin quirky, but a dramatically off-center strike makes another breathtaking. The more unique and visually striking the error, the higher its appeal. The 1979 penny provides several variations of errors, making it a particularly rich year for those who enjoy hunting for unusual finds. And since many of these coins are still out there, hiding in collections, jars, or even circulation, the possibility of discovery keeps the excitement alive. Let's not forget that Lincoln pennies have always had a special place in American culture. For over a century, they've symbolized thrift, honesty, and everyday value. Children have collected them in albums, adults have saved them in rolls, and historians have admired them for their long-lasting design. To find an error penny from 1979 is to add an unexpected twist to this cultural legacy. It's not just a penny anymore. It's a rare piece of art, an accident turned into treasure, and a reminder that even the smallest objects can hold extraordinary worth. When looking at the market value, the spread between $52,000 and $130,000 shows just how much condition, rarity, and demand matter. A collector willing to pay closer to the top end likely wants the best preserved, most dramatic example available. Others might settle for less dramatic errors at the lower end of the spectrum, still paying an amount that dwarfs the coin's original face value. Either way, the market shows that the demand is real and the prices are jaw-dropping. This is why collectors and even casual enthusiasts are encouraged to take a second look at their coins. The lesson of the 1979 penny is simple. Never underestimate the value of what seems ordinary. In the right circumstances, that penny in your pocket could be worth a small fortune. It's not just about the money either. It's about the thrill of discovery, the connection to history, and the excitement of holding a rare mistake that survived against the odds. So the next time you see a 1979 penny, pause for a moment. Look closer. Is there doubling on the letters? Is the strike off-center? Does the coin feel unusual in any way? That curiosity could be the difference between spending a penny and uncovering a life-changing treasure. After all, hidden among the billions of coins minted, there are still stories waiting to be found, and one of those stories could very well be the 1979 US 1-cent penny error worth between $52,000 and $130,000. In the fascinating world of coin collecting, there are certain coins that stand out not because of their age or their design alone, but because of the rare errors that occurred during their minting. These errors transform what should have been an ordinary coin into a prized possession worth a staggering amount of money. One such treasure that has captured the attention of collectors everywhere is the 1985 US 1-cent penny error. At first glance, it may look like just another penny, the kind you might toss into a jar or overlook at the bottom of your pocket. But when you take a closer look, you begin to realize this penny is far from ordinary. Some of these 1985 error pennies have sold at auctions for jaw-dropping amounts ranging from $46,000 to $124,000 depending on their condition, the specific error, and collector demand. Just imagine the thrill of discovering a coin like this in your change. Something worth thousands hiding in plain sight. To really understand why this penny is so special, we need to step back and talk about the Lincoln cent. Since 1909, Abraham Lincoln's portrait has graced the obverse of the penny, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. By 1985, the Lincoln cent had already been circulating for decades in its copper-plated zinc form, after the mint transitioned from the traditional bronze composition in 1982 due to rising copper prices. Most 1985 pennies are made of 97.5% zinc and coated with a thin layer of copper. But as with many mass-produced items, mistakes can happen in the minting process. These mistakes, though unintended, can sometimes create coins of extraordinary rarity. For the 1985 penny, errors such as off-center strikes, double die obverse errors, die cracks, and wrong planchet strikes are the types that can take a coin from ordinary to extraordinary. One of the most desirable errors for collectors is the double die. This happens when the design elements on the coin are accidentally impressed more than once onto the die at slightly different angles. On the 1985 penny, a double die can create dramatic doubling on the date, lettering, or even Lincoln's profile. Collectors prize this because it's so visually striking. Another highly valuable error is when the penny is struck on the wrong planchet, such as a dime or foreign coin blank. These stand out immediately because the size, thickness, or metal composition can look completely different from what a penny should be. When such a mistake happens, the value of the coin skyrockets because only a handful can exist. The excitement around these error coins lies in their unpredictability. The 1985 1-cent penny wasn't minted with the intention of becoming rare. Millions of them were produced and sent into circulation, used for everyday purchases. But the small fraction of coins with minting errors turned into hidden gems that collectors now chase with passion. This is why coin hunters spend hours going through rolls of pennies, carefully examining each one under magnification in search of that one rare error that could be worth tens of thousands. Imagine finding a coin that looks slightly off-center, or noticing doubling on the letters in God We Trust. Those tiny details could mean the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth $46,000 to $124,000. The allure of these coins isn't just about money. It's also about history and the human element of mistakes. Every error coin tells a story. Perhaps it was a misaligned die, a worn piece of equipment, or a planchet mix-up that led to its creation. In a way, these imperfections are what make the coin perfect for collectors because they embody rarity. It's ironic to think that what the U.S. Mint would consider a flaw is exactly what collectors value most. And this is precisely why the 1985 penny error has become such a legend in numismatic circles. The role of condition can't be overlooked either. When coins are preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition, they command far higher values than those that have been worn down by years of circulation. That's why collectors place such importance on grading. A 1985 penny error authenticated and graded by a professional service can fetch much higher prices at auction because buyers know they're getting the real deal. Seeing a coin slabbed and graded as mint state with a clear error can send bidders into a frenzy, pushing the price higher and higher until it reaches unbelievable levels. This is how we arrive at auction prices climbing into the range of $46,000 to $124,000 for certain examples. There are stories of collectors who stumbled upon one of these rare 1985 pennies in the most unexpected ways. A penny pulled from circulation decades ago, kept in a jar, and later inspected, turned out to be a valuable error coin. Others have been discovered in coin rolls purchased from banks, overlooked by countless hands until a careful eye spotted the mistake. These stories fuel the passion of treasure hunters everywhere, because they show that valuable coins are still out there waiting to be found. When we think about it, there's something magical about the idea that a tiny coin, often disregarded or even left on the ground, can carry such immense value. Pennies are often thought of as insignificant, but error pennies like the 1985 one prove that even the smallest coin can hold extraordinary worth. For collectors, it's not just about financial gain. It's about the thrill of discovery, the pride of owning a piece of history, and the knowledge that what they're holding is one of only a few in existence. That sense of rarity is what truly drives the value. Collectors often emphasize the importance of education when it comes to error coins. Knowing what to look for, understanding the types of errors, and being able to spot genuine mistakes versus damage that happened after the coin left the mint is critical. Damage, like scratches or dents, doesn't increase value, but genuine minting errors do. That's why serious collectors study reference books, attend coin shows, and share knowledge within the numismatic community. The 1985 penny error serves as a reminder of just how important it is to pay attention to details. Now imagine the moment of realization when someone discovers that a penny in their hand, something they thought was worthless, is actually worth tens of thousands of dollars. The excitement, the disbelief, and the rush to get it authenticated is an experience only a few have had. But it's those very stories that inspire countless others to keep looking. It's no wonder that the 1985 penny error has earned its place among the most sought-after modern U.S. coin errors. The marketplace for these coins remains strong, with collectors worldwide eager to own them. Auctions are where the true value of these coins is revealed, and each time a rare example comes up, it creates a buzz in the numismatic world. Collectors know these opportunities don't come often, so they bid fiercely, pushing prices into that remarkable range of $46,000 to $124,000. This constant demand ensures that the 1985 penny error will continue to hold its place as one of the most desirable coins of its era. So the next time you find yourself with a handful of change, don't overlook the pennies. Take a closer look, inspect the date, study the design, and pay attention to the edges and details. That 1985 penny sitting in your palm could be more than just a coin. It could be a hidden fortune, a piece of history, and a story waiting to be told. And who knows? You might just be holding the very penny that collectors are willing to pay thousands for, turning something so small into something unimaginably valuable. Every coin has a story, and some stories are so surprising that they completely change the way you look at the smallest change in your pocket. The 2000 US 1-cent penny is one of those stories. On the surface, it seems like just another Lincoln cent, the kind you'd find rolling around in the bottom of a drawer or buried in the couch cushions. But for a lucky few, the 2000 penny has proven to be something much more, a rare error coin with a value so shocking it could completely change the way you see pocket change forever. That's because certain 2000 penny errors have sold for astonishing amounts, with prices ranging anywhere from $42,000 to $112,000 depending on condition, rarity, and demand from collectors. Imagine holding a coin you thought was worth just 1 cent and discovering it could actually bring in tens of thousands of dollars at auction. That's the kind of excitement that keeps treasure hunters, coin roll searchers, and collectors scouring for these elusive mistakes. To understand why the 2000 penny is so intriguing, you have to first understand its context. The Lincoln cent has been one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history, starting in 1909 with the debut of Victor David Brenner's design honoring Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. For nearly a century, Lincoln has remained on the obverse of the penny, making it an iconic part of American life. By the year 2000, Pennies were being struck in copper-plated zinc, a composition the mint switched to in 1982 to save money when the cost of copper grew too high. These coins were mass-produced, billions and billions rolled off the presses. With that kind of volume, errors are inevitable, and it is those errors that turn an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. The types of errors found on 2000 pennies vary, but a few stand out as especially valuable. Double die errors, for example, are a favorite among collectors. This happens when the die that strikes the coin has been impressed more than once at slightly different angles, creating a doubling effect on the design. On a 2000 penny, you might see doubling on the date, the words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or "United States of America." Some of these errors are bold and obvious even to the naked eye, making them highly desirable and valuable. Another striking type of error is an off-center strike. These coins are easy to spot, with part of the design missing because the coin wasn't perfectly aligned during striking. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes. A 2000 penny with a 50% off-center error, where Lincoln's face is only partially visible, can be worth a small fortune compared to a perfectly centered strike. But the holy grail of penny errors often involves wrong planchet strikes. This happens when a penny design is mistakenly struck on the blank of another coin, such as a dime or foreign currency planchet. The resulting coin is often lighter, thinner, or a different color entirely. These rare mistakes can fetch incredible prices at auction, and for the 2000 penny, they're among the most coveted error types. It's one thing to find a coin with a minor doubling. It's another to stumble upon one struck on a completely different metal. That's where the value really begins to climb into that jaw-dropping $42,000 to $112,000 range. Collectors often emphasize how thrilling it is to find a coin like this in everyday circulation. Think about it. The year 2000 isn't that long ago. Many of these pennies are still out there, hidden in jars, drawers, and rolls at banks. Someone could very easily have one sitting unnoticed among their spare change right now. The appeal lies in the hunt, the idea that ordinary people have the chance to discover something truly rare without even realizing it at first. Stories circulate in the coin collecting community about individuals who found unusual pennies in rolls they purchased from a bank, only to learn later that those coins were worth thousands. Those stories ignite imaginations and inspire more people to start looking closely at their coins. What makes these coins so valuable isn't just the error itself, but also the rarity. Error coins are by their very nature limited in number. A regular penny might be produced by the billions, but a misstrike or wrong planchet error might only happen to a handful. That means collectors who want to own one are competing for a very small supply. This scarcity is what pushes the price up at auction. The demand is there, but the supply is tiny. And when you add in the condition of the coin, whether it's circulated, uncirculated, or graded at a high level by a professional grading service, you can see how values can climb dramatically. Condition really does make all the difference. A 2000 penny error that has been preserved in near-perfect mint state condition will always command a much higher price than one that's been banged around in circulation. Collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins that have sharp details, original luster, and no major blemishes. When a coin like this is certified by grading companies such as PCGS or NGC, buyers feel more confident, which leads to bidding wars at auction. This is how we see prices reach and even exceed the $42,000 to $112,000 range. Part of the magic of coins like the 2000 penny error is how they highlight the human side of minting. The US Mint operates with high levels of precision, but no system is perfect. When something slips through the cracks, whether it's a double die, an off-center strike, or a wrong planchet, it reminds us that even the most controlled processes can produce unexpected results. And it's those unexpected results that collectors treasure most. In a sense, these error coins are little accidents of history, preserved forever in metal. Auction houses have seen some incredible bidding wars over these coins. When a rare 2000 penny error comes up for sale, it can spark a frenzy among collectors eager to own it. The competition drives the price higher and higher until one lucky bidder takes home the prize. For those watching, it's a reminder of just how much value can be hidden in the smallest of places. A coin you once ignored or overlooked could turn into a financial windfall under the right circumstances. Imagine being the person who finds one. You're sifting through a roll of pennies, just as countless people do every day. At first, it looks like nothing more than the usual copper-coated coin. But then you notice something strange. Maybe the design looks doubled, or maybe Lincoln's portrait is oddly off-center. You set it aside, look more closely, and realize you might be staring at a rare mint error. That moment of realization is electric. It's the thrill of discovery that keeps collectors searching tirelessly. And when that coin ends up being valued at $42,000 to $112,000, it's the kind of story that spreads through the numismatic community like wildfire. The beauty of coins like this is that they connect ordinary people to extraordinary moments. Every time someone discovers a valuable error penny, it proves that treasures are still hiding in plain sight. You don't need to spend a fortune to start hunting. All it takes is curiosity, patience, and a sharp eye. That's why coin collecting has remained such a beloved hobby for generations. There's always the possibility that your next coin could be something special. The 2000 penny error has rightfully earned its place as one of the most fascinating modern error coins. Its rarity, its history, and its potential value make it a must-know for anyone interested in coins. Collectors will continue to search, auction houses will continue to see sparks fly when one crosses the block, and stories will continue to be told about the lucky few who find them. These pennies remind us that even in something as small and ordinary as pocket change, there can be hidden wonders waiting to be discovered. So the next time you get a handful of change, don't dismiss the pennies. Look at the date, study the design, and pay attention to the details. Because one of those pennies might just be from the year 2000, and it might carry one of those incredible mint errors that transform it from a simple 1-cent coin into a collector's dream worth between $42,000 and $112,000. And wouldn't it be something to realize that the coin you once thought of as insignificant is actually a rare treasure, hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to notice?